Hey guys, it's McGann, and I've gotten a lot of requests to do more anime stuff, and something I've been wanting to talk about for a while is Barefoot Gen, aka Hadashi no Gen. It is the semi-autobiographical manga of Keiji Nakazawa, who was 6 years old when the atomic bomb dropped on his hometown of Hiroshima. You can literally feel the pain radiating off of the pages, and when you read it, you know Nakazawa's entire soul was put into this work. In America, we study World War II constantly. We're like obsessed with it, yet there are so few materials out there available in English that show us legitimately the perspective of the Axis nations. A lot of people might say, who cares? They were evil, but that's not really the case. Everything in life is a cause and effect, and in my opinion, it's not only important to understand what happened, but why it happened. That doesn't justify any wrongdoings, but if we can see where the other side is coming from, that's how we change the world and prevent future tragedies from occurring. Personally, I've only been able to get a hold of the first 2 Barefoot Gen graphic novels, which are the 2 that most closely deal with the bomb dropping and the direct aftermath. There are 10 books in total that follow Gen's life as he tries to create a new normal in a broken world. When I was finally able to find and put on the 1983 anime movie, I was shocked at how different it was from the manga. The animation was not the best. The story had been shrunken down to bullet points, which primarily covered the main events from the first 3 graphic novels. It's kind of a guesstimate there. And the music seemed so counterproductive to the events that we were seeing on screen. Well, let's go ahead and dive in to look at some of the key differences. As always with a book versus movie, or I guess manga versus anime in this case, I try not to cover every difference between the book and movie so that you have some incentive to read it and watch it yourself. The anime is missing all of the manga's heart, in my opinion, and most of its symbolism. The anime talks about the wheat, but only briefly at the beginning and end of the film. The wheat was a recurring theme throughout the manga, a metaphor that Gen himself was like the wheat, growing in the worst conditions even when people were stomping him into the ground. The books also show constant imagery of a rising sun / setting sun, a common symbol of the Japanese government, and that sun is all but lurking over Gen and his family, just staring them down almost non-stop. The anime also greatly underplays the Nakaoka family's conditions before the bomb dropped, and instead the movie mostly pushes the idea that they were starving. In the manga, the Nakaokas were living a pure nightmare from day to day because their father, Daikichi, did not support the war. He was called a traitor by the town, his family was hated, and the local chairman gave them non-stop grief. Because of that, Daikichi's kids were harassed non-stop to the point where they were actually biting people's fingers off in, self-defense? And Daikichi's daughter, Eiko, was even accused of being a thief, and they strip-searched her in school because the city hated her family so much. The movie has a short scene where Daikichi expresses his anti-war beliefs, and Gen warns him that people would think he was a traitor if they heard him say those things, but no one in town appeared to know Daikichi's opinion. None of the issues with the other citizens ever appeared on screen. The anime also dropped a few Nakaokas out of the script. The manga family actually had 4 sons and a daughter, plus the pregnant mom, Kimie. The movie shows Gen and his little brother Shinji, but completely neglects to mention Akira, who was evacuated with all the other children his age to the countryside, and Koji, the oldest son who joins the military against his parents' wishes so that he can hopefully return some honor to the Nakaoka name. Both of these characters have subplots going on, and neither of them die during the bombing, but I imagine the movie cut those characters to save time and money on the film, and that's unfortunate because that's part of what gave Kimie hope towards surviving. There was also a neat detail in the first graphic novel about how the American POWs, prisoners of war, if you don't know that term, would paint peas on the roofs of the buildings that they stayed in. The boys noticed that the regular bombings would never drop on those houses, so Gain and Shinji painted a big P on their roof, hoping that all future bombings would then spare their home. Then we have the atomic bomb, and for how powerful those pages were in the manga, I was really unhappy with how the anime handled it. The anime shows everyone's eyes falling out of their heads, like everyone's, and they show it happen over and over again to where it's less horrific and more ridiculous to look at. In the moments after the bombing, everyone looks, acts, and moves like zombies. It just doesn't feel anywhere near as sincere or shocking as the images in the manga, and the movie just glosses over a lot of the powerful imagery. At this point, I was wondering why they made this a cartoon that seemed to be aimed at children. Barefoot Gen is a story that happens to a child, but it's so adult in nature, kids can't be anything but horrified by it all. Maybe that's the point, but the director either needed to commit to a children's story or an adult one, not this middle road that just doesn't work for the theme. But Gain survives the bombing because he was behind this wall that mostly shielded him, and he runs home to find his house collapsed, and his pregnant mother is frantically trying to free Daikichi, Eiko, and Shinji from under the fallen home. Ultimately, Gain and Kimie can't accomplish this, and they have to listen on as their family screams for help while burning to death. As if things weren't stressful enough at that point, Kimie suddenly goes into premature labor from all of the stress. Shortly after, when trying to find help for his mother and baby sister, Gain runs into a soldier who tries to help him, but the soldier dies of radiation poisoning. The movie shows this character as immediately mean-spirited towards Gain, and that wasn't the case at all in the manga. There was also a young girl who had gotten burned from the blast, and she got very suicidal over it, and Gain finds her and tries to help her, and like the soldier, it's a great presentation of how people weren't turning on each other like rabid dogs, but the movie skips right over these very endearing parts. The anime also jumps right over a huge part of the second book where Kimie takes Gain and the baby and begs for her friend in another town to take them in. The friend does this, but her two children and mother-in-law hate the Nakaokas, feeling that they're a burden. But before they leave, Gain discovers a group of orphans, one of which looks just like his deceased brother Shinji. A lot of drama occurs until Kimie has to take her family and leave her friend's home. Now, that's where book 2 ends, but the movie goes farther into the story, so I won't be able to compare very well from here on out. In the anime, instead of seeking help, Gain builds his family a little house, and Shinji's unrelated twin shows up there. So Kimie decides to keep him just like that. The two young boys start looking for work, and they get hired by a rich man to look after his brother who was badly burned in the bombing. By the time the boys get paid, track down powdered milk, and get home, the baby has died of malnutrition. They burn her body, then Gain makes a wooden boat that the family floats away in honor of Shinji. It's very bizarre to me, and the music plays it out like it's a happy ending, but yeah, this should be a devastating movie, but again, they can't decide if they want to market it to children or adults. I could not possibly recommend the manga highly enough though, and I hope you'll all go check it out and go buy it for yourself to read it because it is great. Well, that's all I have for now, but this video's not quite over yet. We're expanding, so I have to plug our other channels. Total, we have the Fangirl, dealing primarily with movies and shows, Say Halo Goodbye Gaming, and the Fanily Family Vlogs. Links are in the description, and we would love to see you at all three channels. Okay, I think that's it. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed enough to like, subscribe, and share this video. We have tons of material across our various channels that you are fully encouraged to go check out. And if somehow you can't get enough of me, please connect with me on Instagram at sayhalogoodbye or Twitter at _Fanily.